Hello, my name is Megan Schlichtmann. I'm the owner of Nexus Financial. We handle all sorts of bookkeeping and accounting for small businesses. Now, a lot of what's on my channel is working with the software Jobber and QuickBooks together. And I had one client recently move on over to Aspire software. So I want to walk you through the process of what that looks like, syncing it up with QuickBooks, as well as recording payments on your invoices and sending those payments over to QuickBooks. So the first thing we're going to do, now my little camera is kind of hovering over it, but I want you to head on over to your little profile icon down here. Once it's open, we want to look at the administration settings button here, and I'll meet you in the next screen. All right, once you're inside your admin settings, I want you to head on over to configuration, and in the top bar, you're going to see an option for accounting sync. All right, so I just headed over to configuration tab and then open up this accounting sync tab, and I'm using QuickBooks Online for this company. So again, if you're using a different one, I'm not entirely sure of the sync settings here, but we are choosing QuickBooks Online. And the main thing that I want you to pay attention to here is that your deposit account is undeposited funds. It may make sense of like, oh, well, I'm depositing all my money to my checking account. Yes, indeed you are. I just want you to know that for the accounting purposes in QuickBooks Online, we have to use undeposited funds so that that undeposited funds account zeroes out and matches with what deposits we see in the bank account here. All right, so my client doesn't do a lot of purchasing through Aspire, so we don't have a lot of those accounts set up here. But for the end of month report, when we push the journal entry over from Aspire to QuickBooks Online, that's where we have our accounts payable, our accounts receivable account, and so forth. But the main one I want you to focus on here is that your deposit account is in undeposited funds. All right, the next thing I want to cover, if you already have this step taken care of, is we are going to go over to our invoicing section. When we're in our invoicing tab, we're going to head over to our payments section, and I'll take you over there now. So go ahead and head on over to invoicing. Now we're getting over to the bulk section of our day-to-day, week-to-week work when working with our clients in Aspire. And the best method I have seen between my relationship between me and my clients is that their office staff is the one receiving payments. So maybe they're receiving checks in the mail, they're receiving email notifications that an ACH has been pushed over, and they're keeping up with Aspire and seeing that payments maybe have been made through the portal as well. So what their office staff is doing is they're recording payments on invoices. They're the ones responsible for sending out invoices. They're the ones responsible for following up on overdue invoices. And then that's when me and my team step in and we take care of the deposits. So we see the payments in the payment screen. I'll get there in just a second. But we turn those payments into deposits because we keep an eye on QuickBooks and their bank statements, and we can see which deposits hit the bank account. And it has produced some more accuracy and less redoing work when my team does the deposits, as long as the office staff is taking care of payments. So when you first open up invoicing, it's going to take you to this invoicing assistant. I don't use this tab too much. Invoices I only use if I think that an invoice has not been marked as paid. That's my role here, but really I'm between payments and deposits. So I'm going to take you over to the payment screen, and I'm going to show you what that looks like and usually what the office staff and what my team is also looking at here. So I moved my bubble here to the middle of the screen so that you can see what our payment status, our payment date, contact name is, and so forth. So inside of this payment screen, this is where the office staff is making new payments every day, every time they're receiving a payment and recording it as paid, connected to the invoice that is being paid. So if you are the office staff, if you're the one receiving checks, maybe you're the business owner receiving, email notifications that ACH has been made, this is where you are going to make those payments on those invoices. You'll head over to new and you'll select new payment, and I'll show you in just a second. And you're going to say the invoice number that was paid, the date that it was paid, how it was paid, and you're going to save that here. Once it's in this screen, items that have already been sent on over to our accounting software no longer have a checkbox on the left here. The ones that are waiting to be sent on over to our accounting software do have a checkbox here on the left. So I know I need to start taking care of these and follow up as to why is this recorded as paid, but maybe I don't see it in QuickBooks, but also realistically, these just happened within the last week. And so these are the payments that I'm working on next. So we can see the payment amount. Now, say somebody paid multiple invoices with one check. Maybe they have the the same check number or bank deposit number here. And this is where you can make your deposits. So over on the left-hand side, let's go ahead and just for example's sake, let's just go ahead and say that this payment and this payment were on the same check. So maybe we got a check for $785. We didn't get a check, one for $300, one for $485. Our customer wrote it on the same check. You're going to mark all the payments that are included in that payment here, and then you're going to make that as a deposit. So in order to do so, on the left-hand side, you're going to check the ones that all apply to your situation, and you're going to go to bulk actions and create a deposit. I do want to walk you through a real scenario here and show you what that looks like on the QuickBooks side. So on the QuickBooks side, I'm in the bank transaction screen, and I can see what amounts we received here. And for the most part, these are going to be deposits from our customers that I'm wanting to match to things that came on over from Aspire. So the one that I'm going to use in this example, now QuickBooks tries to be smart and tries to give you a categorization and match. Please ignore this column. QuickBooks is not smart enough to know exactly what this is for. This is money received, $485. I have that as a bank deposit here on 1013 or 1031. And if I go on over into Aspire, I can see that same thing. So 1030, we have a recorded payment. I can see the names match here. And with that, we see the 485 was sent on over. So what I'm going to do is I need to send this 485 over into Aspire. And in order to do so, I select the one that is included in that deposit, go to bulk actions and create a deposit. All right, so this is the next screen that pops up when it says create a deposit. I want to change the deposit date to match the date that it cleared the bank account, so 1031. It's going to say who created this and when. And the final step we're going to go to is these three dots over on the right-hand side, and you need to send to accounting. Once you do that, it's going to go ahead and hit save, and then I'm going to take you back to my QuickBooks window once I hit send to accounting. All right, so I just sent that over to accounting in our Aspire tab. I came back to our QuickBooks tab and I hit refresh. When I did that, we can see that the 485 came on over from Aspire system, and now it says match to a payment. And this is exactly what I want. So the dates match, they're within at least 1 or 2 days of each other. The 485 matches. This is great. You can go ahead and select match and move on to your next one. So in order to make sure that this works, there's one thing that I kind of skipped over that you'll need to take care of, and that is to make sure you have a customer name inside of your QuickBooks account called Aspire System. So you'll head on over to your customer hub, add a new one, make sure there's one called Aspire System so that Aspire knows which one to push it on over to. Again, I'm going to kind of backtrack. We're going to head back over into Aspire, and I'm going to show you what recording that payment looks like, and then we'll wrap up this video. So the final thing I want to cover, we're back in payment section. So how do we get payments in screen? So say somebody pays you via check, Aspire isn't going to know that you received a check in the mail and for what invoice it's for. You take care of that here in this payments tab over here. So once you receive maybe a check in hand, maybe an ACH remittance letter, we're going to head on over to this new button in the upper right hand corner, and you're going to select new payment. You're going to have options to select the company or contact name. I'm just going to use an example for a invoice number here and say this is the invoice number that I want to apply a payment to. I'm not going to finish this and finalize this after the next screen to save it. I just want to show you what would happen if you received a payment here. So once you have the invoice number you want to match it to, go ahead and hit apply. Take you to the customer's account, and we're going to see the list of open invoices that they have here. I blurred it out for privacy reasons, as well as company name, but this is where you fill in the information. So if you received a check from them, awesome, drop in that check number in the reference box. If you receive like an ACH or electronic funds transfer, go ahead and select that and add in the reference number as well. If you're tracking different branches in your company, do that. And then the payment date is going to be the date that it relatively clears your bank account. So if it's an ACH, you know exactly what the payment date is. If it's a check, at least just choose the date that you're taking the check to the bank. So if I take a bunch of checks to bank today, I can leave it as 11/5, even though it may not clear until tomorrow. I'm okay with that. If they're usually within 1 or 2 days of each other, that is totally fine. So if this were to be a true check that I collected and wanted to make that payment here in Aspire, this is where you add in the information. Again, remember to add in the reference number, and then you would hit save, and it would show up as one of the lists in our payment screen. It will have a checkbox on the left side, knowing that it hasn't made its way to a deposit to clear the bank account yet, but this is where that payment is made. So that is some of the basics in the accounting from Aspire into QuickBooks. If you have any questions, I have contact information in the description box below if you have questions, as well if you are looking to pass off your accounting to somebody else. This is exactly what we do. This is what we do all day, every day for dozens and dozens of clients. So if you have any questions for me, I would love to hear from you, and thank you so much.